I like to just get a bit experimental with equipment and just make some bass sounds and then see what happens. It's the best way, I think, not to try and make a song, but to just start off with a sound and some textures, and then really just see what happens, and just let it kind of happen spontaneously. To be honest, I got into like jazz music probably in my late teens. Like when I was younger, I was a big fan of like 60s psych and garage, kind of psychedelia. So I listened to a lot of stuff growing up, and then the jazz thing came like a little bit later. Although I wouldn't necessarily call myself a jazz musician, but I listened to a lot of jazz music. And then I guess through listening to like hip hop records and collecting vinyl, I then got into the library thing. The buzz, I think, comes from completing a project. It's quite cathartic, just working on ideas. I love playing the drums, I love hitting drums. That's like, for me, one of the best feelings in the world. Just to be in the middle of a session and just working on putting down a drum part and really getting into it and not thinking about anything else. Actually, this was given to me by Mr. Bongos, very kindly. And I'm a big fan of like Brazilian music. This is Toquinho. Toquinho, I think that's how you say it, I'm not sure. But it's a really nice acoustic guitar stuff made in nylon string. And does a really cool percussion. I'm a big fan of like a lot of Brazilian like arrangements from like this era. So also obviously like Arthur Veracai's self-titled album. This is, for me, like perfect album. Again, like amazing arrangements. Really nice vocals on here actually. I've been listening to Tribe Called Quest since I was a kid, so this is just like a 12-inch that I can't remember where I picked it up, but I'm stressed out. It's a nice track. Introducing. This is a classic. Like this is probably the record that I've got that I've listened to the most. I tend to try and keep them in good condition, but this one's like well and truly been played too much. I need a new copy actually. But this is a big influence. I'm not like a turntablist guy, but this is a great album. I've always liked the mixing the kind of modern and vintage things, so I think we've managed to get that with this record. Marco, the designer, I think did a great job with the front cover. It's like, you know, kind of reminiscent of some late 60s, early 70s kind of album front covers, but with more a kind of a modern twist. The end product is something that I don't have to think about too much. There's lots of people connected to the label who are really good at what they do, like from the cover art to like, you know, motion graphics and the kind of marketing side of things. So for me, it's nice to not have to think about that kind of side of things too much. I can just leave that to people who are professional, and I can just focus on doing the music. It's been quite a disruptive year, obviously, and the plan was to record the whole thing in the studio, and in the end, it ended up being a kind of 50-50 thing. Like quite a lot of stuff was recorded here in my little home studio setup, and yeah, it's definitely challenging. You know, dealing with a space that is not necessarily ideal for recording audio, but managed to Definitely managed to get a lot out of the equipment I have, and managed to finish the record. And that was definitely a challenge. And the way it turned out, I'm actually really happy with that. There is a kind of theme kind of relating to, I guess, like the whole Blade Runner kind of thing, like the kind of Android kind of idea, like mixing kind of VSTs and like automation and mixing that with like live performed instruments. To me, that's kind of been an interesting thing to kind of mix together, and it's, like I say, kind of stolen that idea a little bit from some sci-fi novels I've read, and yeah, really, like, I'm a big fan of Ennio Morricone and Vangelis, and like I listen to a lot of soundtrack music, so that definitely has a big influence on what I do. I think the one thing that I'm nostalgic for is once upon a time you could make a record that was very experimental, and a major label would put that out regardless of how well it was doing. I think we've lost that from the music industry today. I think there's not enough chances. People don't take enough chances, I think, on artists, up and coming artists. You're kind of expected to do quite a lot yourself and have a following before someone will come in and invest in you. But I think on the flip side, you know, it's kind of an amazing time because there's so much cool music being made. There's so much on offer. There's so many great albums being made by people in their bedrooms, and you know, with the streaming side of things, you can reach a lot of people, and a lot of people are still buying vinyl. And for me, that's like, I think that's really important. I think, you know, you should buy physical records. You know, it's a great way of supporting the people that you like, and supporting the music that you're into.